Tabernacle of the bridegroom, Mazaroth 101. Class 1, Biblical Astronomy. Let's do this. Okay, we're going to start here. Mazaroth is a biblical Hebrew word found in the book of Job, whose precise meaning is uncertain. Its context is that of astronomical constellations, and some judge it to mean a specific constellation, while it is often interpreted as a term for the zodiac or the constellations thereof. The similar word Mazaroth in 2 Kings 23 3 through 5 may be related. Now, if you have been watching my Mazaroth calendar series, then you know I just presented this information. So if you would like to dig deeper into this study, you're more than welcome. I just wanted to use it as a launching pad. One of the things that we will bring back up is this mosaic on the right hand side. It's a Helios zodiac cycle 6th century mosaic in the Beth Alpha synagogue in Israel. And they have found many of these glyphs, mosaic, and they found them also in ancient walls carved into the walls without any paint, just the actual artwork. And what they are showing here is all the houses of the zodiac. And the zodiac is a more modern term for the ancient Mazaroth. And what we'll be doing in this story series is explaining how this is associated with the scriptures and how this Mazaroth became corrupted by all of the ancient cultures, and we'll be breaking that down also. But in this first segment, what we're going to do in this class, because this is a class, so that's the first thing that I want everybody to understand, that this is class 1. And this, because it's a class, in order to participate, I need you to either have your notebook or your wherever that you're going to store this information. This is an interactive study, and that means participation. I'm going to connect the links in the description. You're going to have to come back and open up all of these links and read the stuff that I'm not presenting, because you need to have the complete understanding. And there is a whole bunch of other links within these Wikipedias, and it allows you to dig deeper, and then you can just use the same words in your search bar. And if you really want to understand this, and you're here in what we are going to consider as school, because this is a learning platform, but it's interactive. And so the links that I'm going to be connecting are going to take you to the deeper meanings of all these things because I have uh, over 20 years of researching all of these things. I've only been using Delirium for just over 10, maybe 11 years. But I've been doing this research for over 20 years. And in order for you to be able to have the stellar understanding, you have to have some foundational evidence that builds your faith in what you're hearing and seeing. Because I believe the reason that the churches don't touch on this is because of astrology. And because there was so much corruption, if you're not trained in this understanding, then it's better to not touch it with a 10-foot pole because there is a lot of corruption with astrology. And this is going to be part of our series is understanding where and when that corruption came in, even the why it came in. And we're going to be discussing all of these things, but we're going to start here, which will be step one, and we're going to just be proving out how the Mazaroth is absolutely part of the Bible, and it's unmistakable that these things are connected, and we'll be proving that out today. So, according to the 10th century biblical exegete Saadia Gaon, it literally means constellations, while others interpret the word as naming various concrete astronomical bodies, and such as Saturn, the seven planets, the Hyades, and northern and southern crowns, the southern ship Argo Navis, or Sirius. So, these are all guesses at what it could mean, but what they're missing is the understanding that it's the completion of the entire thing. In other words, every star, every planet, every galaxy, throughout all of what we see is part of the Mazaroth. Every rock, which means our asteroids, all of the comets, even these interstellar objects like Three Eye Atlas, are all part of the grand story that was placed there as a great mystery. And we are obviously drawn to understanding these things. And that's what we're going to also be proving out, why there's mythology. Why has there been a corruption in this understanding, which comes from cultural mythologies? And we're going to be discussing how and why that happened and where are at today with our modern scientific understanding of things. And we're going to be talking about all of that in this series and getting everyone up to speed on why this is important to understand from a much deeper than what is touched on with the majority of um, all religions, I would say, because they don't want to uncover their corruption in this this worshiping of these so-called gods. And that's what we're going to be uncovering with this series, is how this became complete corruption, going against what we would consider as the ordinances. Okay, so this is going to be connected. It's also connected in the Mazaroth calendar, so if you can't find it, you can just do the Wikipedia for Mazaroth. It's real simple. It gives you some links, and you can even dig deeper into the glyphs and mosaic and the things that they found in ancient Israel with the Mazaroth. Because this back then was not considered, if it's from Israel in the ancient times, it is called the Mazaroth. That's the Hebrew word, and where we are getting our entire understanding is from the Hebrew Mazaroth and my studies into the ancient Hebrew belief and systems, and how they did their worship, how they performed their marriages, how they lived culturally. I've been doing these types of studies for over 30 years when it comes to the cultural stuff of the Hebrews. And all of the Levant um, belief systems, the religious and cultural ideals, and studying the written documents. This became a work of mine when I was very young, in my late 20s, um, trying to uncover the historical evidence of the Hebrews, the Israelites, and their migration through that area, through Egypt. Um, I've uncovered just incredible information when it comes to all that. And that's what really led me to all of this deeper understanding, is um, seeing these types of ancient depictions of the Mazaroth all over the place. And we'll be getting into that later in a later series. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to prove out what we call biblical astronomy. And where we're going to start here is with the Wikipedia for heavenly host. The heavenly host, and you can read the Hebrew, originally referred to the sun, moon, and stars. And we're going to quickly go here to Deuteronomy 4:19. And this is going to become one of the most important parts of our later studies, but we're going to bring it forth here. Deuteronomy 4:19. And when you look up to the heavens, when you see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the host of heaven, do not be led astray and bow down to them and serve them. Things that the Lord your God has allotted to all the peoples everywhere under heaven. Okay, so first, it's basically saying that he has allotted to all the people everywhere under heaven. And what he's telling them is, when you look up to the heavens and the sun and the moon and the stars and all the hosts, and we'll be discussing that, do not be led astray and bow down to them and serve them. So that's very important, because when you begin to discuss what's called star lore, then you can start to put together where this statement in Deuteronomy fits. So we're gonna read through this quickly, and we're going to establish our proof for the difference between biblical astronomy and astrology. So, star lore is the creating and cherishing of mythical stories about the stars and star patterns or constellations and asterisms that is folklore based upon the stars and star patterns. So right there, it's telling you that star lore is the mythical stories about the constellations, asterisms, stars, etc. That is folklore or cultural stories based upon the stars and the star patterns. Using the stars to explain religious doctrines or actual events in history is also defined as star lore. Star lore has a very long history. It has been practiced by nearly every culture recorded in history, dating back as far as 5,500 years ago. So we're going to stop there quickly, and we're going to be going to, I'm sure most of you have heard of this by now, but this is called Gobekli Tepe. And this is a astronomical temple. And there is depictions all over these T-pillars of astronomical observations during their events that they had in the heavens. And they placed them on these T-pillars as warning signs of the things that are aligning in heaven. And that's part of what is not being released to the general public, is that this actual location has been found to be a warning to our modern culture about what is happening in the heavens and how it's tied to disaster cycles. And so Gobekli Tepe is between 12 and 11,000 years old. And this rewrites typical modern understanding of the time when people were actually able to understand the heavens, and that they actually put their depictions in stone, because it was believed that it was 5,500 to 6,000 years ago. Well, now they're finding that it's between 15,000 and 10,000. And that is where we find Gobekli Tepe. They're saying that it's 11,000 years old, close to 12,000 years old. And now they're finding the same type of stone engravings and carvings in Eastern Oregon, and they're claiming that that's 15,000 to 18,000 years, and they have very similar depictions within the findings that they're coming out with in all of these locations. And they believe that this is what they would call disaster cycles. and how the stars are aligned with these disaster cycles. So we have to go back to this star lore, and it says as far back as 5,500 years. We actually have to take that back to, we'll just say 10,000. We'll double it and say 11,000 years because of all of the modern archaeological discoveries. I'm involved with um, a couple of Oregon studies that are going on. I'm doing deep research into this discovery that's happened just east of here and over in more central Oregon. And then there's a couple other discoveries that they made in northern Nevada, close to the Oregon border. And they're finding all of these ancient um, 10,000 to 15,000-year-old discoveries of human technology. They had uh, very, very high-end knives for that time. Like they were incredible. They had, there, it doesn't match with what our history tells us. We'll just say that. And it's important to understand that we can't look at these timelines and let that disturb us based on some information that we've received from somebody else. We have to do our homework and prove those things out. Don't just listen to me or listen to anybody else. It's important, especially if you're part of this class. This is an interactive study, and we're going to try to prove these things out based on the information that I've provided, and that you can dig deeper on your own. It's not just listening to somebody and taking on any of their ideas. We're all supposed to do our work of proving these things out to ourselves. So we're talking about prehistoric cultures, Paleolithic and Neolithic, and it goes back even further than that. They're saying this Oregon discovery may be 18 to 20,000 years because they keep digging uh, deeper and they keep finding more discoveries. But it looks like it's a complete other culture. Like they dig multiple feet deeper, and all of a sudden it's a different culture. And they found how one of the layers was connected to an ancient explosion of Mount St. Helens that was a very, very extremely large eruption. And they have all of the dating of this eruption, and if it's aligned with this eruption, which is what they found, the same footprint of the materials that would have come out of the volcano, then we know that these cultures were buried by that, and we have the evidence of that. Then what has happened is we have had what we call corrupted history. And that's how these things can allow us to uncover the truth of our history, because it goes back long, long, long before what is being presented to us in most of our history books, or even here, like what we're showing you with Wikipedia. So I'm going to let you come back here and read about Orion and Scorpius and Andromeda. It goes into Draco. These things are important to understand. Um, if you will please read through the rest of these constellations. That way I can keep working through this to explain how this stuff works without taking too much time. So this is an interactive study. Please come back to each link and read all the stuff that's presented and do your own due diligence and dig into what's being shown. Okay, this one I will also connect. This is the openbible.info, and we're here on Mazaroth, and there is 57 Bible verses about what we would consider as the Mazaroth. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be proving out why we are looking to the Mazaroth and how it is involved in what we call biblical astronomy. So let's go through these quickly, and we're going to just pick out a couple. We'll read a couple, but you're going to come back and open up each of these and read them for yourself. There's 57 Bible verses that are involved in what we call the Mazaroth, and it's important to have the biblical understanding of all of these verses and why it's talking about the Mazaroth. It's not just in Job where it has the actual word Mazaroth. We are talking about what the Mazaroth is and how it's connected with all these scriptures. Okay, so Genesis 1:14, and God said, "Let there be light in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years." Okay, and we are going to move down to Job 38, 31, and 32. Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades or loose the cords of Orion? Can you lead forth the Mazaroth in their season? Or can you guide the bear with its children? Okay, so what is it talking about? It seems like it's talking about these constellations and how, uh, if it says lead forth the Mazaroth, we know that the ecliptic is a wheel in the heavens that the sun is on, and that travels through each constellation, and the sun is on a journey through these constellations or houses, and we'll be discussing how that works. But right here, it's showing us in all of these scriptures that these constellations or the Mazaroth are involved in our biblical story. So he's telling Job, can you bind the chains of the Pleiades or loose the cords or bands of Orion? Can you lead forth the constellations in their season? And can you guide the bear with its children? So there's the great bear, and then there is other bare constellations. And what he's telling us in this statement through Job is, are we able to lead that? In other words, are we able to turn that clock ourselves? No, we are here to gaze at it and in wonder. And that's what is being spoken, is that this grand story is placed there in the heavens for us. And we can see the proof of that in these 57 verses. And we can go to, let's go down a little more. This one is a little bit more detailed because it finishes up after the bear with his children. Do you know the ordinances of heaven? Can you establish their rule on the earth? This is in the book of Job. In Psalms 19:1, to the choir master, a psalm of David, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. How is that not the Mazaroth? The heavens are declaring the glory. The sky is proclaiming his handiwork. Can you find the chains of the Pleiades? Or can you loose the cords of Orion? Who are we to say that these things don't matter? How have we been corrupted to misunderstand these things? All of creation is screaming at us from the heavens, moment by moment, second by second, day by day. The signs are going on, and the only people paying attention to it are the corrupted ones. This has been lost to the population of believers because the devil has lied. And you have purchased the lie also. Even if you're not participating in astrology, you have still purchased the lie. The enemy owns nothing. The heavens are the glory. He has only corrupted what was already there in the pleroma. This is our story. And Job and Psalms and all of these other verses are proof that we have a deeper understanding and connection. This is why I left the school that I was participating in, because they could not answer to me why I saw all these verses. And this is when I was young. I was like, wait a minute, how come it's talking about all these constellations? And It's everywhere. It's all through the Word. It's all through the Scripture. It's everywhere, family. Revelation 12. And a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. Well, the church will come up with some kind of gobbledygook. But we know in 2017 that sign literally appeared in the heavens. And if you don't already know that, then look up the Revelation 12 sign in the constellation of Virgo. That's the woman. And when she's clothed with the sun, it means that the sun is in the house of Virgo. She's the woman. The sign appeared in heaven. The moon is under her feet. She's clothed with the sun. And there are 12 stars, or a crown of stars above her head. And somehow, some way, this has been corrupted when it's right above our heads. All you have to do, family, is come into this link and read through all of these scriptures. There are 57 of them tying to the Mazaroth or the heavens. Okay? The thing that we are required not to do is worship them, to make idols unto them. That's the corruption. To understand the creation of the heavens and how that ties to Messiah is called biblical astronomy. And this entire thing is proven through the scriptures. And all you have to do is come and do your due diligence and look at all of these things. In Joel 3:15, the sun and the moon are darkened, and the stars withdraw their shining. Why would that verse be in the scriptures if we're not supposed to pay attention to the sun or the moon or the stars? Please do your due diligence and come and read through all of these scriptures and prove out for yourself. Because if you don't prove it, all you will be is one of those vipers casting stones. And I'm not going to accept the stones being cast at me. I'm putting up a shield, and they're all going to bounce right off, because that's the beauty of having a YouTube channel. I don't have to engage with rude or obnoxious or triggered people. I can just let all of their comments go bye-bye. If you're here to learn or engage responsibly and respectfully, then I'm here to answer any question anybody has. This is all easily proven out using scripture. This is biblical astronomy. We do not look to the stars for our personal engagement of what we're supposed to do or what we're supposed to wear or how we're supposed to act. None of that is part of the Mazaroth. That is astrology, and we don't participate. We're not here for fortune telling or divination or interpreting omens or sorcery or necromancy or participating with mediums. We do not participate in any of those things, nor are we telling you to listen to fortune tellers or diviners. This work is to prove to you that before the corruption, there was an ancient thing called the Mazaroth. It goes back to the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth before there was ever a Bible, before one glyph or mosaic or rock carving or drawing or painting on any walls or anything that mankind could make, the heavens were created. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. But the heavens were already created. This is the most important point. What you see in the heavens going on was there before anything. And that is going to do it for class 1, because I'm trying to keep all of these classes under 45 minutes. And so we will just keep coming back, and that way it's not too long. It's very important for you to interact with these studies. I'm going to connect. There's only a couple things for you to go through. So get out your notebook, come up with your questions so that you can gain a deeper understanding quicker by having somebody to guide you through these classes. So thanks for coming. I thank everybody who's new to the channel, and I hope this was a blessing for you to get started. And again, we'll be right back within a couple days. The only reason I brought this forward before the 2032 video is because when I did my move, I didn't have some of the research that I wanted to tie to that. So I'm going to put that down, and then we'll come back hopefully tomorrow, and we will be releasing that video. So thanks again for coming. Much love. We'll see you very soon.